President Xi has been very clear and somewhat unequivocal that during his tenure, that he intends to resolve this question of unity for mainland China. And by that he means he has crushed the Hong Kong democracy. That's already taken place and brought them in the fold. And the second piece to that certainly is Taiwan. He has indicated he does not intend to pass this problem on to the next generation. His last statements on this were peaceful unification, which we hadn't heard in some time, and that took place just this last weekend. But he is bound and determined to unify that and use force if necessary. Our problem is this. Our military deterrence in the area, as we have stated many times here, has eroded over the years due primarily to the 9/11 wars. The Trump administration started to put that back together. The Biden administration is somewhat helping there. They can do much more than what they are doing. I don't think we have a sense of urgency either to move military capability into the region. That is critical, but it's also a window of opportunity that President Xi has because he's watching the United States rebuild. He knows it's going to take a number of years before we have that kind of capability that's an adequate deterrence to his military actions. And when we play war games, we all know what the answer is. We lose those war games. The second issue really comes down to the central issue, and that is, under this president, President Biden, does President Xi believe that President Biden will come to Taiwan's defense if President Xi initiates military action? And he has a number of choices in terms of military action, to be sure. But I think that is a question mark that we don't know the answer to. I think the Biden administration is trying to send signals, Dagan, that we are going to support Taiwan because we have increased the military assistance program to them. This administration supported the small number of troops that were put into Taiwan to assist them with training under the Trump administration. They didn't pull them out. They certainly kept them there. And they have sent other strong signals in terms of statements that you just introduced. Rock solid support will be there for Taiwan, things like that. But what we have never said is made a declaration that we will come to Taiwan's defense. I believe this. Since the debacle in Afghanistan and since we walked away from a 20-year ally, and countries around the world, particularly our adversaries, are questioning the United States' resolve, I think we should take this issue off the table and make a declaration that if mainland China unprovoked attacks Taiwan, that the United States will absolutely come to the defense and would expect our allies to do the same. Get the issue off the table and remove the ambiguity that surrounds it.
Be clear and concise and forceful in where we stand with Taiwan and what we would do if, as you said, if China moves against Taiwan. Speaking of China, I want to get to this. They're facing a tough choice in the coming weeks. The country is facing an electricity shortage. Leaders will have to decide whether to keep factories running at a normal pace as heating season begins. The shortage prompting authorities to announce a rush to mine and burn more coal. The country has been facing power cuts since mid-September. But General Keane, I wonder, is this problem exposing a weakness for China, or is it actually intentional because this running factories at a lower capacity, it actually is helping cause the supply shortages that we're seeing around the globe? So is it a problem for China, or is it intentional, and are they using this as a weapon against us and the rest of the world?
No, I think it's more of a problem for China. I mean, it's exposing the fact that their industrial base, by comparison to the advanced countries in the world, is not nearly as sophisticated. Their factories consume considerably more energy than what the United States and Western factories do, given modern technology that's invested in those factories. So, yeah, what's happening here is they simply have a demand problem that the supply cannot meet. And I think what's truly going to happen here is they're going to have to cut back on some of their factories, particularly the ones that absorb so much energy: steel, cement, chemicals, etc. And also do as much as they can to prevent the people from not having heat in their homes during the wintertime. So they're going to have to trade some capital gain here to protect their own people. And it is, as you mentioned in the introduction, after all, in a couple of months, the world is gathering to discuss climate change, and China has committed to closing coal-fired plants and coal mining operations. They're now reopening the coal-fired plants and mining operations, not all of them, but a lot of them. And they already are the #1 green gas emitter in the world due to these coal-fired plants that they have. So, yeah, pollution is going to be with us in China for some time. And I think this is more exposure of a huge weakness that China has than any other manipulation that's going on here.
It also, and just final word to you, but it also exposes how our energy policy weakens the United States, that it's all directed with John Kerry being the climate czar. It's all directed at kowtowing to China and genuflecting and begging on our knees for China to reduce its emissions, saying, well, we're going to destroy our own energy sector, which is an incredible economic strength, but also gives us strength on the world stage because all these other nations not only produce oil for money, or they need fossil fuels to exist. So it's just a joke what this administration has done to our own energy power and superiority.
No, I don't dispute that at all. I mean, you're right on the mark there, Dagan. I mean, we're talking out of one side of our mouth in terms of what we're doing to our own energy sector under the guise of climate change. And here we have China just running wild with their own program themselves and just consciously creating a more destabilizing situation for the world writ large. I mean, it's the hypocrisy of the communist regime right out there in full view for everybody to see it.
Right. General Jack Keane, always a pleasure. We're covering more supply chain problems heading into the holidays when we come back. General Jack Keane.